I need to feel your energy today from start to finish.
Come on, let's go.
Let's crank this thing up. It get real ferocious, I'm trying to tell you.
Turn me up all day.
From the locker room to the broadcast booth, breaking news and the truth behind every take from a real NFL insider and television analyst.
Now get ready for the NFL show where the conversation gets real and the fans get a voice. It's time for the Lake Lewis Jr. Show here on ESPN Radio.
And that's football.
Welcome, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining us as always. And we got a good one coming up for you again today. And, you know, I take time out to try to come up with some topic matter that I know is near and dear to you guys out there. And if you're NFL fans, and specifically if you're a Washington Commanders fan, you're going to really enjoy this one, because what are we going to talk about today? Well, the team announced their game uniforms. And Alan and myself, you know, we're going to break it down a little bit. We're going to talk about, you know, those uniforms, and would you have worn that uniform for that specific game, or would you have worn a different one? Maybe they're going to have a combo, because I think with this new uniform that the Commanders have, you know, basically they're able to mix up maybe almost up to 7 different combinations as far as the uniform. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about a guy that needs no introduction as far as in that uniform. And we're talking about number 17, Scary Terry. And I think Scary Terry is getting ready to have a Scary Terry type of season this year. And we'll talk about why that's loading for that guy. Also, do you have any concerns? Because, you know, training camp is just, 12, 13 days away almost. We're getting there. You know, starts on the 29th of this month. A little bit later on, because normally, you know, training camp is a lot earlier. Training camp's normally like 22nd, 23rd, maybe the 24th, but it's the 29th this year. So it gives you know, guys like Alan and myself a chance to have a couple more days, you know, in the break. So we'll talk about any concerns that you have for this football team as they enter training camp. Are you okay with the wide receiver room? Are you okay with the depth at offensive line? What do you think about the linebackers? What do you think about the secondary? Do they have enough at the kicker position, a position that people don't talk about enough, but you need to talk about it because it could be the difference for this football team winning games this year. The competition between Jake Moody and Drew Stevens, the undrafted free agent rookie that has turned a lot of heads with the strength of his leg. He, you know, kicked at Iowa, you know, previously. So we'll talk about all those things, and then, of course, we'll go into our NFL news and notes. And if you, the fans, if you would like to call us up or email us, all you have to do is reach out to us at 804-327-0888. And before we get into anything today and we bring in our super producer, Alan Sandage, I gotta let Alan know, man, you know, today did my workout. You know, we got a personal trainer. Shout out to Crunch Gym over there off Broad Street. And Cliff is my personal trainer, former football player, you know, big dude. Man, listen, if you ever saw the movie The Transformers, and you know you heard that noise, that crick, 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 you know, that was my body today in there, man, because we had leg workouts and your boy was in there getting it in, man. I got video of it. I'm going to post it a little bit later. You'll be surprised at what your boy was doing, Alan.
Yeah, I don't want any part of leg day anymore unless I have to, you know. Leg day when you're an athlete is just, I don't know, man. It's just different.
It took me back, you know. I'm not going to say the school. I'm not going to say it because, you know, we've gone about about 3-4 shows with me not mentioning Penn State. But it took me back to those days, man, and I got to tell you, I literally today was like one of the first times I left the gym feeling like I was going to pass out. Feeling like I was going to puke. I mean, literally, you remember those days.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good workout unless you go there.
Man, it took me there, and I don't know if I want to go back there, though.
Also means, as my strength coach used to say, also means you're out of shape.
No, I'm in shape. In shape.
He would say you're out of shape. You can't be in shape and you're almost about to throw up.
See, so the problem is, you know, and we'll get into it, folks.
You're in better shape than me. I'm not criticizing.
We'll bring this stuff up, you know, but, you know, at this time last year in July, and I weighed myself with Coach Bobby Johnson. Everyone knows the story with the team. He's no longer there now. He's the offensive line coach. We started this diet together, and it was all protein, and I've done it for a full year. It's like you cut carbs. You are basically fasting almost every day until you eat dinner, but you have your proteins in between your protein shakes. And I got to tell you, I started that. I weighed myself up there. I was 227. As of today, I'm 181.
Nice.
So, yeah, but that's the problem.
So
I
you
lost all that weight,
you back
but
at
I
your
didn't
playing
keep
weight.
the muscle, and now, I might be in my playing weight, but I'm not at my playing physique. So that's where we are now. So I'm lifting heavy. I'm doing the heavy lifting, and it is woo-wee. So, yeah, if you're out there, folks, trust me, we will talk about health and wellness on this show because it's big. And Alan's getting into it right now, too. So, come on now.
Something like that.
When you go to look for that suit that you're going to need for the weekend, if it fits good, then you were doing something. If it fits tight, you got to pick it up a little bit.
That's been the downside when you lose a lot of weight.
You got to throw all the clothes out.
Yeah, but, being, collegiate shot putter and stuff like that, I had to put on a lot of muscle mass myself, and it wasn't always just like muscle, obviously. So I had to burn some of that. I'd gotten pretty big myself before my son was born, so I definitely had to lose some weight.
You look like a shot putter. Now it makes sense. Yeah, you definitely do. Alan's neck is the size of my thigh.
Yeah, man. Got the Tyson neck, man. 20 plus inches, man. Just doing a whole lot of neck workouts and shoulder shrugs and things like that. You gotta bulk up for it, which is again relating it to football, like the O-line and stuff. It's similar to that where you have to be a certain size to do what you do, right?
Yes, you do.
And then when it's done, nobody wants to walk around 300 plus pounds, man. Like I was 320 by the time.
At my heaviest, I was 254.
Yeah. So I was like 320 when I stopped. Like, so I was 295 in college when I was competing and doing all that stuff. After college, I let myself go, got up to like 320, injured my leg playing flag football and got it up to almost 360. And they told me,
boy, you were looking like Mark. What's his name? Used to wrestle.
Yeah, Mark Henry. Yeah,
you was looking like Mark Henry at that point.
And they told me, like, if you don't want to get a knee replacement, not only are you gonna have to recover, but you gotta lose a lot of weight, big boy. So I was like, all right, I don't want the knee replacement.
That's what I was told after I ruptured my Achilles. So look, folks, we'll get into what you're listening to us for. You don't want to hear old man stories here. I trust me, I understand.
Back in my day.
But if you're younger, trust me, yours are coming. So don't make fun of us because yours are coming too. All right. So the Commanders, they sent out the good old memo as far as the uniforms. And first and foremost, do you like the uniforms now?
Yeah, I'm not a big anti-uniform guy. There are some, like the color rush. Some of the color rushes I didn't prefer, but I don't think I've ever complained about the Commander uniforms. I actually like the idea of the. I would assume that's kind of like the color rush, the black one that they got. Mm-hmm. I did notice in the graphic though they didn't put out the new helmet with that. They just put out the jersey.
Yeah, well, that might be,
I understand.
An error on my part.
All right, I was just saying, I was confused by that, but yeah,
it might be.
I like everything that they did with the new jerseys. Again, when you read the idea behind it, it makes more sense. Trying to blend the past with the present and things like that. And we know Josh Harris is big on paying homage to the Redskins and what they did, and transitioning to the Commanders and what it stands for now.
Yeah, and so when I was younger, and I'm sure a lot of people will remember this, if you are 40 plus, you probably should remember, definitely if you're 45 plus, you'll remember this. But Washington's home uniform during their heyday, Joe Gibbs times, it was white on burgundy. They wore the white jerseys, burgundy pants. And it seemed like after, when Snyder came in, it started to change, and then it flipped, and then it became the burgundy, jerseys on white pants. And then they went back and got the yellow pants or the mustard color pants, I can't call them gold, but that's technically what it is,
They look more gold now.
Well, now they do. Yeah. So now it's legit burgundy and gold. Before it was red and yellow.
Yeah, it was a bright yellow.
A bright yellow. So, and they do have that color, not yellow, but they do have gold now as an alternative that they could mix in there. So what I wanted to do, Alan, was I wanted to go through this schedule, and you tell me if you're comfortable with them wearing burgundy white or their Hellraiser alternate, which is that black uniform. A lot of people like that. The one with the helmet has the spear through it and all that. A lot of people like that. Okay. All right. So week 1 at Philadelphia, they're wearing white.
I'm okay with that.
Now, I'm curious, are they going to wear white on burgundy, or are they just going to wear white on white?
Probably the white on burgundy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably where they're going as well, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because Philly has their home, Kelly green or whatever, or green. So Washington will do that. So week 2 at Dallas, they're wearing burgundy, and we know why they're wearing burgundy.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys wear white at home. So
Cowboys are different.
Yeah. But see, Washington used to do what Dallas does,
But nobody wants to do that.
I miss that. I personally, I'd like for them to wear white on burgundy as their home uniform, just because it's nostalgic and, but things are changing. Okay, so week 3. So this is basically what they're doing. Okay, for the burgundy jerseys this year, they're wearing them week 2 at Dallas, week 3 at home against Seattle, week 4 in London when we're over there. They're wearing those against the Colts. Week 8 against the Eagles at home. Week 9, John Riggins' retirement jersey game, okay? And our fan show, get together. Everyone's coming from all over the world for that game. Looking forward to that. That's week 9 against the Rams. They're wearing burgundy for that home game. Week 10 at New York against the Giants. They're wearing burgundy, okay? All right. Week 14 at home against Houston. They're wearing burgundy. Week 16 at Minnesota. They're wearing burgundy. Now, that's what's surprising to me because normally Minnesota wears what at home?
Don't they usually wear their purple?
Right. So when I saw that, I was just like, that's different. Unless it's, I don't know, color rush or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But it says here on my email that week 16, Washington's wearing burgundy at Minnesota. So interesting to see that. Maybe Minnesota's going to start wearing white at home a lot more. Okay.
I would have the black on black. I would have saved for like primetime games. I would have considered using it in London, but I understand why you would want to go with something more traditional because you want your brand.
Sure.
Yeah, you want your brand. There. But that that November 1st game against the Eagles when you're at home, I would have definitely pulled it out.
I thought about CC. For me, the black alternate Hellraisers would have only been for an NFC East rival.
Yeah.
It would have been for Dallas, Philly, or New York, period. But what they did was, so we still have, the final game of the season at home against Dallas. They're going to wear burgundy. So the white uniform, and this is where it's going to get interesting to see the mixes of this. Because I think it's safe to say, Alan, this football team's never going to wear burgundy jerseys with black pants. Okay?
No,
so that's not happening.
That would be where I would draw the line. I
Right.
would complain about that.
So the only option you're going to get with burgundy, I mean, you could do burgundy on burgundy.
You could
But burgundy on gold and then burgundy on white. So those are the options for that. That's 3 different scenarios, 3 different looks. Okay, but for the white, week 1 at Philadelphia, could they wear white on white? Could they wear white on burgundy? Or could they wear white on the gold?
I could see white on the gold. I don't like the idea of white on white. I don't think they would do that.
Definitely not white on black, right?
No, I wouldn't do that either.
I mean, you got those black uniforms. You might want to do something with them, mix them up. Maybe you get the helmet that you could mix up. Week 5 against the Giants, you have a white uniform. They're going to have that. So that's another opportunity to mix it up. At San Francisco, that's the one, a Monday night game at San Francisco, week 6. I'm curious because you're going to have, literally a white uniform going to San Francisco. So do you do white on burgundy?
It depends. Sometimes the Niners, it's a Monday night game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes they like to go back to their like Super Bowl jersey from like 94 or 95 or wherever. It depends on what they would wear, I think.
See, I could see Washington wearing white on gold for that one.
Because there's, I
can
want to
see
say
that.
there's the white jersey with like the patch on it.
Yeah.
That they had. And I think that was the one they used when they played the Chargers. So 94 season going into 95.
So that's possible. They possibly could do that. Okay.
And they have the red one too that they like to pull out from time to time.
Okay. All right. So then the final three are Week 12 at Arizona, Week 13 at Tennessee, Week 17 at Jacksonville. They're going to be wearing white jerseys, and we'll see what the other mix is with those. And then the two Hellraiser alternate games are Week 11. I think that's a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken, against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
And then Week 15, I think that's another primetime game, if I'm not. Is that a Sunday night game or –
Who are they playing Week 15?
Week 15, the Falcons.
The Falcons, that is a 1 o'clock game.
Oh, boy.
That might get flexed.
And they're wearing the Hellraisers for that.
Well, that's the game before Christmas, so I don't know.
I don't like that for the Falcons.
I don't like that either.
Sorry, Falcons aren't worthy for that uniform to come out on them.
I
I'm
do
sorry.
like I said, for me, it would have been primetime games for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It would have been one of the Eagles game. It would have been one of the Cowboys. It would have been something that I could hang my hat on. So that's what we have with the Commanders uniform as far as what they're going to be doing. You know, they didn't do these things in years past. They never talked about, uniform. So we do have a caller right now. Did you say it was a Shano? All right, Shano from Fresno, California. What's going on, Shano?
What's up, my guy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What you thinking about these uniforms? Are any games you'd want them to wear a different uniform for?
Yeah, looking at the breakdown, I was a little disappointed that first off we're only wearing the Hellraisers twice, and both time obviously we're hosting. But our opponents for both of those games have black in their colors.
Yeah.
So if we were trying to do a blackout thing, that's not really going to affect them.
Right. Yeah.
And so I thought it should be mixed up a little bit, but that's just me being picky me.
Yeah, we're being picky here in the studio today because I thought you would definitely want to wear those against your NFC East rivals, to kind of jazz it up just a little bit. But listen, I'm not going to over-complain because I love the uniforms and I love anything was better than those original Commanders uniforms. So they've gone back to the past, so I'm okay with that. So look, my friend, the Rams game, you'll be there. You coming over from California for that. Not to support the California team either. This guy's a diehard Commanders fan. Week 9 against the Rams, they're wearing burgundy at home. You remember the day where their home uniform was white on burgundy. Would you prefer that to go back to that, or are you okay with their home uniform basically being burgundy on white?
I completely dislike that look, the burgundy on white. That's my least favorite of all. I like the way it was back in the day with the white tops and the burgundy pants, but I really like when they switch it to the solid, the burgundy on burgundy, and I love the white on white. But one of my favorites has to be that RG3 with the gold pants with the white jersey. One of my favorites.
Yep. So maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe we'll get that, over like that. So listen, my friend, appreciate you calling us up. It's that time. It's that time where you got to get some bills paid and we got to get to a commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about a person that no matter what uniform they're going to wear, we're expecting some big things from him. Scary Terry, monster season loading. You'll hear it right here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. That's a good one, man. I haven't heard Shine in a long time.
Yeah, it took a while to find something that was radio appropriate. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, because when it came on, I literally paused for a second, like, Alan, you're gonna get me in trouble, man.
I was like, you know what? I might have overstepped on this one.
That's good stuff, man.
Oh, my gosh.
That's real stuff.
Quickest
right there.
bumper I ever played.
Woo-wee. Yeah, you had me worried there for a quick second, my friend. So not bad. So, folks, I wanted to talk about a guy that really, like I said earlier when we started the show, needs no introduction. Number 17, Terry McLaurin. Could you say that Terry still is kind of the quasi? He's kind of the face of this team right now. Or do you think it's all Jaden at this point?
I don't even think it's kind of. I think he is, even though obviously Jaden's more popular because of the quarterback position and recency bias with him being Rookie of the Year and things like that. There's more excitement around the younger player, but Terry is the de facto face because Terry's the one that everybody defers to for guidance on that team, right? Like, yeah. And when I say guidance, not necessarily in the sense of like tell me what to do, but in the sense of if he's not worried, I'm not worried. I remember that rookie season, Terry would say things during the press conference, like or during his little scrum, and it would get echoed by pretty much every single person in the locker room. If Terry said, "We're good, we just got to win the next game," the next 4 people I talked to would say that, like, "Hey,
Literally.
We're good. We just got to win the next game." So I think he is the face of the franchise. And again, I think it's more based on how everybody defers to him more so than deferring to Jaden.
So basically what you're saying to me is Terry's the spiritual leader of this team.
He is. He's the pulse, man. Like He's the Umi. Yeah, that's what he is. He leads by example, and he keeps his composure, and everybody else keeps their composure. I bet you if they play the game, and I want people to pay attention to this year. They play a game. Let Terry start yapping. Let Terry get hype. And everybody on that team is coming, man, because it's not what they usually see, right? He's not the guy that does that, and he I think he has a common effect on Jaden. I've never heard him talk about it, but I'm sure it has happened. And clearly, Jaden is more comfortable when Terry's on the field.
Yeah, I mean, Terry gets everybody turned up, and that's what you need. That's what your best player does for you. And when they didn't have that, in the offseason last year, leading up to training camp and all that stuff, and we knew about the holdout and all those things, it just it literally threw off everything. It did. And I'm sure Adam Peters and company realized just how valuable this guy is, to the fan base, to his teammates. And I'm telling you right now, I've seen Terry this offseason, the OTAs, minicamp. I've never seen him look better as far as in shape for this time of the year. He is in incredible shape. And I think he knows, there's no doubt he knows his worth, for one. He knows what he means to everything that loves the burgundy and gold. But I think more importantly, he understands what he's going to mean to Jaden Daniels. And all you got to do is go back just 2 seasons ago, 2024, Terry had his best season, and he had this rookie quarterback that was making throws that we had never seen in the area and probably ever. So that's what they're trying to get back to. And I think Terry's loading up for a monster season, folks. I truly believe that. I think Terry might do something this year that has kind of been like, people who are naysayers of Terry bring up, oh, yeah, has he ever had over 1,200 yards? And I always go back to him and say, who the hell was throwing him the football to get him over 1,200 yards? Well, Jaden needs Terry just as much as Terry needs Jaden as far as getting back on track. What kind of numbers would you say would be an uber successful season for Terry this year?
I think 1,200, 1,300 yards would be uber successful. We got the extra games, so getting over 1,000 doesn't quite carry as much weight as it used to when it was just 16 games. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think in his case, like anything around 1,300, and I'm not even more so concerned about the yardage. I think for Terry, uber successful is to get those touchdowns back in the double digits, man. Like it's one of the things that he has always missed in his productive career is like he just hasn't gotten a lot of touchdowns to go along complementary to the amount of yardage that he gets, right? And he's an explosive guy. He's a big play receiver. I think that was something that Jaden helped bring to the forefront is like what could have been if we had somebody at quarterback that was willing to throw the ball down the field, capable of throwing the ball down the field with some accuracy and stuff. And I still go back to the game in New York, the rookie season where Jaden put the ball in the corner of the end zone, I believe. It was like an over the shoulder pass where Terry, all he had to do is basically put his hands up. Like if he had that kind of comfort level with the quarterback for even half of his career, he would probably
we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah, he'd be
about
more
how
well
good he
respected.
is. Yeah. Because that's the thing, Alan. Not to cut you off, my friend,
No,
but a lot of people say to me all the time, "You guys in DC think Terry's great, but around the league," and I'm like, that's garbage.
They game plan for
But I was going to say that's that wasn't the word I was going to use, but that's garbage because you and I both know, just like you said, defensive coordinators. If there ever was one guy on the field that they worried about, it was Terry. And what do? They put a safety over top of him, high up, so that way he's basically being double teamed because they're saying, who else is going to be out here to do anything? So now I think if you go back to Terry's stat-wise best season, it was 2020. Okay, in 2020, he had 1,118 yards, reception yards, 87 receptions, but he only had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay. You go back 2 years ago when Jaden Daniels was the NFL Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Terry played every game. Okay. Every game. You go back to 2020, he missed 2 games, and he still had those crazy numbers. But he played every game. In 2024, he had 82 catches for 1,096 yards. So before you say, well, wait a minute, he didn't have a lot of yards, they had a little bit more balance. There was other guys. Zach Ertz was eating as well. Jaden, was running for, basically 800-900 yards. I mean, they were doing other things. But guess what? Terry had 13 touchdowns. That's a lot. So if you can get back to this year, 2026, I'm going to say this. Monster season for Terry, and I'm saying like a real monster season. And if he can do this, if he can hit these numbers, this isn't putting pressure on just him. I'm just saying, if he hits these numbers, that means David Blau, their new offensive coordinator, and Jaden Daniels, that means the offense is humming, okay? I'm going to say this. If Terry can get to that 90 plateau for the first time in his career, 90 receptions, it's doable. A lot of people are doing it nowadays. Just it's never happened in Washington, probably since Pierre Garçon. So if Terry can hit that 90 reception plateau, it pretty much will solidify him up around 1,200 yards, like you said.
Yeah, and 1,300 yards, I just looked it up, would have put him at 6 last year in total yardage. And I think we all agree JSN was the best receiver in the league last year.
And what was his numbers?
He was 1,793 in yardage, but he had 10 touchdowns. That's why I said double-digit touchdowns is good, man.
That's it.
I think we've been spoiled sometimes by all-time great performances and things like that. People are not letting you in the end zone anymore, man. Like they will literally bracket you,
especially if they don't feel like there's another threat on the field.
Yeah, seriously, they will just box you in, and it makes Megatron look even more special because people were guarding him like that for most of his career. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, but he also was 7 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, physically he was just so imposing. But
wait a minute, before we get emails from people, you know how they are, Alan.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't 7 feet tall. We were just saying he was a big 6'6".
His wingspan
he was a
probably
big
made him feel
6'6" wide
7
receiver. So yeah. Okay.
But you gotta have some versatility. The one thing I would love to see more from Terry, and I've said this about him the majority of his career, is yards after the catch. Right? Like you get those big plays, you get him in space. Let me see what you can do with the ball in your hands now, because he was doing that
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Because remember the Detroit playoff game, he broke one, took one to the house,
and
then he did it the week before in the wild card game against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, because I was going to say the modern wide receiver in today's NFL, when they catch the ball, they're getting yak.
Yeah.
And so that helps so much. It actually probably changes how people guard you too if you consistently show that. So that would be the only thing I would be critical about with him coming into this season.
Is Terry, in your opinion, is he a top 10 receiver?
Yeah. He was a top 10 receiver in my opinion before Jaden got there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a time where I was hard on Terry. Where I would, and that's my guy. We're good with each other. But there was a time where I would say I wanted to see more from him because they needed more from him. But in retrospect, they didn't have anybody get the ball to him. So you can only do but so much. And for every Jamar Chase that's out there, look who the heck's throwing him the football. For you see some of these great receivers, and it's no coincidence that they probably have a really good quarterback getting them the football. And hence, that's why Terry's touchdown receptions jumped up. Remember, 2019 was the highest amount of touchdowns he had ever had in a single season, and that was 7, Allen. Jaden comes in, and instantly he basically doubles that. He had 13.
Yeah, and I'm not even asking for you to give me a Joe Burrow. I'll take a swipe here. I know people are probably going to cringe, but A.J. Brown had 1,000 yards with the guy that was afraid to throw over the middle of the field. But Hurts is a capable passer when he wants to let the ball go. I think the willingness to let the ball go is the most paramount thing when we're talking about quarterbacks and receivers, because every receiver thinks they're open. Every receiver that's one of our top receivers, if the ball's in the air, they're going to try to make a play on it. And the majority of them can make spectacular catches. What hurts them when we're talking about statistics sometimes is that they get stuck with guys who just don't want to make the throws, right?
And then on top of that, the reason why I feel good, that you should feel good, that you, the fan out there listening or watching, should feel good, is because David Blau, the offensive coordinator, said they're going to target Terry. They're going to target him 8 times minimum, a game. Listen, if you're a wide receiver, if you're Terry, that's music to his ears, because he's going to be looked at as the way he should have been all these years. And I don't want to say that they've squandered some of his career. You don't want to say that, because his value here is immense. Right now, Terry, if Terry were to hang him up, Terry might go down as a top 10 burgundy and gold wearer of all time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's how beloved he is. So, but now I think that he's going to get utilized the right way. You also have to think of not just the fact that they're going to target him a lot, that should get him more numbers, but they have a tight end now in Chig Okonkwo who's going to be able to stretch the field in the middle of the field with Yak himself. You've got a young guy in Antonio Williams. I'm telling everybody, remember that name, because that kid's going to be something. And then, of course, you got your field stretchers. You have De'Ami Brown back, a guy that can take the ball deep. You have Van Jefferson, who I definitely think's making the roster. He's another guy that can take the top off of a defense. So and then let alone the running back game. Rashad White is a guy that can catch out the backfield. Krosky Merritt built, is a guy that can take one to the house at any given time. And then, of course, you have the guy with the S on his chest, Jaden Daniels. I don't know how that sounded. Yeah, he's Superman, but he's got the J on his chest. I guess you can say that. So, yeah. Anyway, you have all these pieces that can make life even harder on defenses, to stress defenses, and Terry's going to be the main guy stressing them.
Yeah, Terry's got to be wide receiver 1. He's got to be – sometimes he's going to have to be a decoy, and he's going to have to depend on these guys around him to make the most of their opportunities, which is why it's paramount that they get a capable second option, right? And again, we've talked about names at receiver. We've talked about tight ends. We've talked about even the running backs getting involved. We've talked about Jaden using his legs. It doesn't matter. They just need some other threat to make people at least consider that they can't just focus everything, whether it be coverage or manpower, to Terry's side. And when Terry gets those opportunities, which is usually about 2 or 3 a game anyway, make the most of it, right? And they did that in 2024. Again, he was some issues last year with staying healthy and just getting into camp and things like that probably kind of derailed them last year.
Yeah.
But in this season, 2026, they need to get back to the 2024 principle, where if you give us the look and the opportunity, we will make you pay. You give us 3 shots, we're making at least 2 of them.
Yeah. So, I'm excited about this. And, so that leads us into our next thing. We'll take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about, are there any things that concern you for the Commanders entering training camp? Remember, training camp starts on the 29th of July this year, a little bit later than it's normally been in years past. And I'm not complaining. I'm sure Allen's not complaining. Gives us a couple more days to be at home. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about any of those concerns that you may have for the Burgundy and Gold. You're listening to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show right here on ESPN Radio. I was just about to say that. Oh, my gosh. Because this right here. So when I was growing up, folks, Tribe Called Quest was like, they were it, man. They were one of those groups that if you are a hip-hop head like I am, you knew about Tribe Called Quest. So that was legendary stuff. Good stuff there,
just
Alan.
remember,
that's before your time.
Yeah, I'm a big Tribe fan though.
Okay.
It's probably they were probably at the very beginning of my hip hop introduction.
Right. Right.
But I just remember the Boondocks episode. You say the whole name. Tribe Called Quest. You say the whole name. Cracks me up.
That's a funny show too, by the way. So yeah. So listen, we do have a caller on the line, and then we're going to start talking about any concerns that you may have for the Commanders entering training camp. So let's bring Bruce on. What's going on, Bruce?
Good afternoon, Lake. Good afternoon, Alan.
Good afternoon.
You on point fight? You on point fight?
Yep, you already know it all the time.
All the time, Tiff. So, hey, man. I mean, just classic, man. It's no other word to describe Tribe other than just original.
Yes. They got it going.
Look, I want to hit you and Alan with this, and I just want to. I was waiting to hear what you say could be issues or possible issues for the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to incorporate my question.
Okay.
You know, everyone, all these people are saying that the Cowboys are going to be better, that, you know, Jalen Hurts has something to prove. The Giants are going to be better. They have improved their receiving core. The Rams are going to be better in the East. The Bears are going to continue. So, like, what do you overall? I mean, it appears the East is really going to be there this year as it relates to improvement across the board. There may be a downside in the AFC, but the East is going to improve themselves. So, how do you see that as, you know, hey, this is something that we need to be prepared. Each game that we play in our division, in our conference, is going to be critical.
That's a great question, Bruce. And I've always said this. I've always posed things this way. If you give me a quarterback that I can say on any given Sunday is no worse, not the best, but no worse than the second best player on the field, my team's going to win a lot of football games. And that's what we saw in 2024 with the Commanders. We didn't see that last year, and it wasn't because Jayden wasn't one of the best players on the field when he was playing. It was because he was hurt. He missed 10 games. That's a lot of football games to miss. But this is where I went ballistic on Tuesday because people were like, people were writing me after the show saying, you know, come on, Lake, Jayden was hurt. That's why he fell out of the top 10 list that ESPN put out. And I said, okay, but if that's the case, Justin Burrow moved up on the list, and he missed 9 games last year and didn't make the playoffs. So I'm saying this. So I'm saying this for you, my friend. Jayden Daniels, when healthy, is no worse than the second best player on the field any given Sunday. A lot of those Sundays, he's the best player on the field, and we've seen it. I'm not making this stuff up. If he stays healthy, it's going to be hell to pay. And that's a good one. Raise hell, the hell to pay. Okay. It's going to be hell to pay for a lot of these naysayers and some of my colleagues who, by the way, I never see them at any of our practices. I never see them out there. So it's just, it's wild guesses, and they're going back to what they know and what they feel comfortable with. And that's to slight the Commanders because that's the way it's always been. But they're not realizing that 2024 season was bigger than just the wins and getting to the NFC Championship. It was a changing of a culture, and that culture is still as strong today as it was 2 years ago. They just got to produce on the field, and I think they will. So good call there. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, Alan, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's not to be tongue-in-cheek about things and feel like I got to defend this organization. But I do feel like across the country, a lot of people are sleeping on Jayden, and they're sleeping on the Commanders. They just don't believe that they're going to be any good.
Well, it's easier to project them to fail than it is to project them to be successful.
That's the easy way out, man. You got to stand on something.
I mean, that's on anything in our sports coverage nowadays. It's easier to be negative than it is to be positive or optimistic. So I understand it, but I also think that, you know, if we play the if game, the healthy team, especially with a healthy Jayden, is drastically different. Yeah. It really is. And that second year with Cliff Kingsbury, you know, we've talked about even with Joe Witt, like it was just poorly run. It was a very bad season for the coordinators, for the players.
I was going to say.
Yeah, so hopefully all that stuff's out the building, and they can focus on getting back to the winning ways. And again, based on what you said about the OTAs and what we've seen from the players up there, people look like they're physically getting ready for a winning season. Like everybody's taking this seriously, and we've heard some of the players you've had on also talk about like the mindset and the intensity and things like that has picked up earlier than last year, where they came in.
I've ever seen it.
Yeah, came in a little complacent last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the intensity is there. As far as the concerns, I can't. It's hard for me. And obviously, I'm an optimistic person. That's just who I am by nature. It's hard for me to just come out and say, oh, I'm concerned about this. When I've seen these guys and I've seen how hard they've been working, I've seen how hard, they've taken this off season. Most of these guys have come back bigger, stronger, and look faster. A lot of these guys, like you said to us right here on this show that, some people thought maybe they had arrived. A little early, prematurely. Okay. So with that said, if I have to find something that I'm going to say has me concerned, man, I don't know if I can. And I'm not saying because I feel so hunky-dory about it, it's all that everything's great, they're going to be great. No, I'm just saying the areas of concern that I had going into was obviously that wide receiver room. But the way I've seen Terry going about his work and the way that I've seen some of these younger guys in year 2, in year 3, taking the natural maturation steps in their careers so far from what I've seen, I feel comfortable with this wide receiver room. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it until proven otherwise. I feel comfortable with this room to not have to go out and get an aging free agent or get a malcontent free agent, if that's the case. I feel okay with that. So I'm going to say this, and I said it before. I was just on last night with my good friend Natalie Spaulding from ABC in D.C. I go on ABC up in the D.C. area all the time as well, cross-branding here, ESPN, ABC. I said, literally, I think the big thing for this team right now, the biggest question mark is kicker. And I'm serious, man, because that's been a position that's plagued them. So don't laugh when you hear that and say, come on, Lake, that's all you can find. No, I'm saying that kicker position is huge. It changes how you call offense. It changes when you can go for it on fourth down or when you can just kick a 60-yard field goal. Look at the Cowboys. So I'm saying this right now. I think Drew Stevens is the guy that's going to be their kicker this year.
Yeah, I hope it's not the other guy. I've already told you.
Come on, man.
I got issues with the other guy.
You going with, I
got issues with the other guy, and you only get so many chances to miss. Some of them were easy field goals. Like it looked like he had the yips, man. So
he doesn't have the strongest leg. Jake Moody doesn't. He's accurate, but he doesn't have the strongest leg.
Drafted like so high. Like,
yeah, man.
Ridiculous.
But that's what teams do now. They take chances on kickers.
Man, but get another pick.
But look. Give Adam Peters and company credit because they got this kid Stevens as an undrafted free agent.
Probably where I would get my kickers.
Yeah, I mean, you want to save a position for somebody that's going to give it to you on the field, right?
The Cowboys kicker, Aubrey, he was on the couch.
Again, you just got to have the right staff, the right scouting. If you can listen, man, I know if I was an NFL team, I'd have had multiple scouts at this World Cup. I kid you not. I would have been out there looking at these guys. Obviously, you're not getting Messi or you're not getting, Bellingham or any of these star players.
I bet you Holland would want to do it when he's done.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even look at that. I'm looking at the guys that really weren't getting a lot of playing time. And I might say, hey, you know what? If we could pay you top dollar to come and try out, and if you make the team, you could be a star. Look at the kid Aubrey. Look at what he's done. He's from Australia. I'm saying there's opportunities for that. You remember Sebastian Janikowski?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, big, strong leg guy was knocking the cover off the ball. Was a little bit of a character too. So being a kicker in the NFL is hard, man. I mean, it is what it is. But if you got a rocket ship for a leg, which this kid Stevens does, and keep this in mind, he kicked in the elements at Iowa. So it's cold out there. It's windy. It's rainy. It's in farmland. He kicked out there. I think he wins that job. And I think if he or Moody, for that matter, really push each other the way I've saw in OTAs and in minicamp, they finished minicamp making all their kicks. They didn't miss one on the last day. So if they can continue to do that through training camp, through preseason, the winner of that kicking job is going to be legit because they've had pressure on them. And to me, that's the only concern for right now that I have. It may change once I see some things in training camp and we see the joint practices against the Dolphins, against the Ravens. We'll see.
Yeah, so my concern for the Commanders is the same thing, from last year, right? Mm-hmm. Because in my mind, I haven't seen the questions answered yet on my concerns from last year, which was, can you stay healthy, and are you athletic
but is that,
enough?
Hold on, Alan. But when you ask the question, can they stay healthy, and I know where you're going with that. But is that fair? Because every team, every now and then, just gets snake bit with injuries.
Yeah, that happens. And in the Commanders' case, similar to my Niners, they don't have a lot of depth. So you need your key guys to stay healthy, right? Like if you had a injury at the running back position, it wouldn't hurt as much, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows the difference between a starting quarterback and a backup is drastic, right?
Right.
But like
Christian McCaffrey goes down for the 49ers, it's a wrap.
Yeah. if we're talking like the wide receivers, you have one proven guy, and that's Terry McLaurin. You don't want anybody else to you don't want him to get nicked up early, right? And I think anytime you're talking training camp and stuff, non-contact injuries and things like that are probably in the back of everybody's mind. Nobody wants to see that stuff. Remember, our guy, was it Ronnie Staley?
Yep.
He signed that massive contract.
Lineman, yep.
Yeah, he got hurt, and then there was a litany of injuries to that offensive line for the Chargers. Like, that would be a concern of mine going in. Like, you just don't want guys to get hurt going through the motions. And then the second thing, again, the athleticism, I think, is paramount for this team, both on the offense and defensive side, but so much so on the defensive side, because that is the basis in which this new defense is probably going to set the tone, is going to be through their athleticism and the ability to be disruptive. So how much depth do you have? And these guys that we've seen test running 4.5 at 220 pounds and things like that, my guy Sonny Boom Boom Styles, who I'm very confident will show his speed. But, like, are we going to see that from these guys? You highlighted a couple guys who are athletes that we were thinking about could slot in as like situational players.
Yeah,
will they flash that athleticism that we're hoping can be utilized this year?
See, I think in year 3 right now for this team, and again, folks, this is why I'm saying I don't have any glaring concerns as of right now, because I do feel like the depth piece has been answered. Can it be better? Maybe. Sure.
Oh, it can always be better.
It can always be better. You can always upgrade. Maybe not.
We can always use Aaron Donald.
We can't upgrade our significant others. Look, we can't do that.
We can always
they can upgrade us, but we can't upgrade them.
We can always use the Aaron Donald with the Myles Garrett.
Right. Exactly. So I think that Adam Peters in year 3, I think this is the roster where you'll be able to fairly have questions if it doesn't produce. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
If they don't produce this year, then I'm going to have major concerns as far as what I can talk about and say it's not happening, it's not being done. But I don't feel that way. I feel like the acquisitions of the free agents that they brought in this free agency class this year and their draft picks, I truly feel like this team is better as we speak, at least on paper. They're better than at any time over the past 2 years. And 2 years ago, they went to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I feel more confident in this year's team going into this season than I did in the 2024 season with the rookie quarterback.
Because you didn't know what to expect. Yeah, new coaches, knew everything.
I feel like, even if you take Jaden out of the equation with the rest of these guys on the roster, except for your secondary wide receiver option, I still have questions about that. But like you said, I'm not overly concerned where I feel like they need to go out and they need to sign a Diggs or somebody to fill the spot. And I've already openly advocated that you leave Brandon Ayuk where he's at.
Yeah.
Just let him
wherever he is, right?
Which, has your stance changed on that yet?
Remember I said you can always upgrade. That's the thing. But you don't want to upgrade and disrupt the harmony that's in the locker room. And I'm not saying that the young man would do that. I don't even want to talk about Brandon Ayuk right now. But
I
the
know,
point,
just
but no, man, it's a fair question. I haven't changed because you know me. I'm listen. Everyone they get surprised when I answer these things this way. They say, "Oh, Lake, you're one of the nicest guys," and I pride myself for being approachable, accessible, and being a guy for the fans. You know, a journalist for the fans. But I got some dog in me too now, y'all. So don't get that twisted. I'd rather win with some little bit of craziness as opposed to lose with choir boys. That's just me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a very Big Ten-esque mentality. So
are you serious? You gonna do that? You think the Big Ten running got a convicts playing ball out there?
Right before the end of the show, I had to get that slide in. You left it open.
You know, folks, they do this to you when you win. When all you do is win, that's where I need DJ Khaled right there. All I do is win. That's all we do in the Big Ten. We just win, and people get upset about that. So sorry. You can have our leftovers.
We'll see.
Listen, this is one of those shows that wanted to mix it up again, and appreciate all our callers calling us in. Sean O called from Fresno earlier, and it sounded like Alan said he thought he was on the beach.
It probably was.
I think he was in his convertible. You know the weather out there. They always brag about their weather out there.
Cali
you can have the
nice.
weather here today. I know that. It's like the devil is outside right now. It's so hot. So, my friends, as always, genuinely speaking, I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to check me out. Remember, you can watch this program on my YouTube channel, which is at Lake Lewis Jr., and you can do that every time we do this show. So have a great evening, my friends. Be safe with your family and friends.